Good morning, everybody. It is May 19th and I'm back at Big Cottonwood Canyon. This time I'm in the Milby North Trail. This is the trail opposite of Lake Blanche, like on the north side of the canyon. It is the peak time for meltwater. It's Yellowstone just melting off and running into the rivers right now, so they're quite raging. And anyways, let's see what cool stuff we can find. Well, you know, sometimes when the spring runoff is really powerful and there's a trail right next to the river, what will happen is it runs right onto the trail and kind of washes it out, and that's exactly what seems to have happened here. This is supposed to be a trail and it's now just a segment of the river, like the main stem is right there, and it just washed right into the trail. Now this isn't a problem for me, but hopefully it keeps some people off the trail so I can be more alone up later on the trail. Is that antisocial enough for you guys? Alright, you got another really great one of my favorites. This is Delphinium Nutalianum. It's a species commonly known as larkspur, that's the genus at least. And it's because it's got that sort of spur thing on the back of the flower. Yeah, that's the whole nectar, so attract more insects to pollinate the flowers. Regardless, it's a member of the family of Ranunculaceae, and one characteristic of that family is that they are all toxic to varying degrees. The delphiniums in particular are one of the more toxic groups in the family, right up there with Aconitum and Bimonxid, which is one of the most toxic plants in North America actually, so definitely a family you can't forage or do much with, but they do look pretty. And you can see there's some right there that are purple, very purple in flower. Let's see if I get it focused. Nice. Little tiny plants that come to bloom this time of year. Really do enjoy them. Where's that same delphinium I was talking about earlier, same species, much more in bloom now. It is fantastic being back out into tall forest like we got right here. Zoom out a bit. Wonderful setting. You know, most of the year it's too cold to visit these places and there's too much snow and everything's dormant for the year. But now it's all waking up. Okay, this is pretty rad. That old conifer tree broke off and fell a long time ago into these gamble oaks right here, and it's just being supported by them now. How's that happen even? Uh-oh, mushroom alert, and quite a big one at that. Can't say what species it is, I'll try and look it up later, but there's my foot for comparison. I accidentally ripped it off, so there it is. It's got these sort of brownish gills, and yeah, pretty thick stem. Like, there's my hand for comparison. Don't want to touch it too closely. And you can see there's some more kind of right there. Fascinating. I suppose it's been a while since I talked about this one. This is Ceanothus velutins, also known as Snowbush. So named because it keeps these leaves all year round. So it hasn't just leafed out or anything like that, but it's had these leaves all year round, in fact. And it's a member of the family Rhamnaceae, and one characteristic of the Rhamnaceae is that they have 3 carpelled fruit. You can't see them right now, but you might be able to see on the receptacles here, and that there's sort of 3 segments of them. So yeah, the fruit will have, not only have 3 carpels, but they're very, very, very distinct 3 segments to them. So the carpels are very visible. And again, not 100% identifying characteristic, but it is quite common amongst them. Now, obviously, this is a pretty hardy plant. It must be to survive the winter with all its leaves on. So I do appreciate it for that, and yeah, just a nice plant in general. So right now I'm at about 7,200, 7,300 feet up, solidly entering the middle elevation, the higher elevation forest, which is a habitat we've only just really been able to explore this year because it's finally gotten warm enough. But it's also probably where we'll be making most of the rest of the videos after, say, mid-June for the year, because that's just where all the interesting flowering plants are going to be. And there really is quite a lot I want to show. But right now, everything's just starting to leaf out. Like, they're kind of well on their way, I guess, but not quite there. And there are, of course, some flowers blooming. Hey, like this one right here. Well, it's not yet blooming, but this guy, the sort of bulb-looking thing right there, that is a wild onion, an Allium species. I can't say what species it is without looking closely at the flower, which hasn't fully bloomed yet, of course. But that's what it is, and I can rip a leaf off. Sorry, plant. That smells very much like onion, and there's quite a few of them right there. Yeah, interesting fact about onions actually is that they are toxic to most animals. Like almost no animals can forage them, but to humans they're almost completely safe. Just a lucky evolutionary quirk we got there. And indeed a very lucky one, because we can get to enjoy all the nice culinary benefits of the Allium genus with whatnot. If it's garlic, onions, chives, all that delicious stuff. Look at that wonderful view. Just fantastic. Utah's got its perks, that's for sure. Even if it's got a lot going against it as well. This one's a real doozy right here. Any of you guys want to try and guess what plant this is? If you guessed that it is a species of violet or viola, you would actually be completely correct. This is Viola Purpurea, and it is a violet species with yellow flowers. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's a native plant, which is also much appreciated. But yeah, yellow violet, whoever thought those existed. Okay, one more before I start heading back down. This is Erysimum, most likely asperum, the species of wallflower, the native one, if it is indeed that particular species. As you can see, it's got the 4 petals like other members of Brassicaceae, and although you can't see this right now, when it fruits, it'll develop what's called a silique, which is, it's kind of like a pod almost, but it has this like a sort of membrane in between the 2 halves of it. I got like the kind of like the legume fruit, like the pea family ones, if you know what I'm talking about. Regardless, though, it's a I do hope it is native. It was hard to key out, and it doesn't seem like any of the species particularly matched this description, but otherwise, it's the only one I got to go off of. So yeah, I'm going to go with Erysimum asperum. Absolutely incredible out here. Amazing view. Anyways, it's a shame I have to go now, because I saw last year this sort of avalanche field where all these trees were smashed up, and I wanted to check up on it again. But yeah, it's going to have to wait for another day, unfortunately. Talk more about the setting here, I guess. And this side of Big Cottonwood Canyon, most of the rock is going to be quartzite. It's basically just sandstone that has been metamorphized, so it's yeah, you can't see the grain size so much. It's been melted and smushed together and all that. And I think it's normally a fairly agreeable substrate, because you can find a lot of plants here. I mean, limestone, even if it's after a fixed soil develops on it, most plants can grow, but it can also, that one also is certainly harsher, and that's what's up Mill Creek Canyon mostly. Regardless though, I think I'm going to have to cut this video off now, just in case I don't see anything. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. Well, we got another species of Sambucus or elderberry here. This is Sambucus racemosa. It's known as the red elderberry. It's got a flower that is, or flower stalk I should say, an inflorescence that is a raceme instead of the more corimbose form of the other species via Cerulea. Regardless, this guy right here is found at higher elevations, is more of the mid and upper elevations, as opposed to the Cerulea, which is found at the lower elevations. And yeah, it's just coming into bloom now. Soon I'll be hopefully making fruit, and maybe I can try out, because I guess I gotta give the foragers a bone every once in a while. But yeah, here it is. It's got the opposite leaves. Really small guy, but it's still blooming nonetheless.